Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, November 30th. So today is the very last day of November, so we are going to feel a pressurized sensation take over us to wrap up the life lessons that November was meant to teach us. We do have the moon in Libra all day, really kind of cheering us on to stay balanced, to stay grounded, to find that center point and not live in the emotional and mental extremes that will likely take place. And the moon is going to be going void, of course, very late in the day and preparing us for moving into Scorpio energy early Wednesday morning. Now, let me give you a heads up here. First of all, we experiencing the moon in Scorpio for the first time since leaving Scorpio season is going to feel like we are back in Scorpio season with the darkness, with the depression, with the anxiety, with the intense type of pressure and passions, desires that have been building up in us. But of course, many of us had to face our shadow. Because this is the last day in November, there is an intense pressure taking place anyways to wrap up those particular life lessons. So don't get discouraged if you find yourself taking a couple of steps back, feeling depressed, feeling in the darkness. This is just a little bit of a reminder where the power is, and the power is in the suffering. Why? Because suffering puts us in a position where we're ready to make bold, courageous ass moves to never have to experience this type of energy ever again. But we do have the day full in Libran energy. I just want you to know that this is what we can expect moving late in Tuesday and early into Wednesday morning. With that shift, anytime we're coming out of the moon in Libra, moving into the moon in Scorpio, it's always a big pressure-filled day anyways. On top of the last day in November being a pressurized state of learning, we have that going against us as well. And we have a very busy cosmic day here today with 15 different aspects taking place in the sky, and 10 of them involve this moon. So the moon doesn't make a great aspect right out of the gate with Uranus. This is creating confusion. This is creating a lot of anxiety, a lot of restlessness. Now we're questioning everything that we thought we knew even yesterday. Mercury tries to sextile Saturn to really help us get a grip on the mental plane, not lose the positivity that we worked so hard to build up yesterday, and really kind of validate for us that, you know what, we're on the right track. We're strong. We have a grip in our mental plane. We have a vision that we're working towards. We have a grip on our emotions. The Saturn energy wants to boss us up because we are ready to move on to the next level. We just have to wait for eclipse season to actually be over before we can actually do that. The moon goes ahead and bumps into the true node in a not so nice way. And again, adding to the confusion that we're unsure of now, especially where our future plans are concerned. There's a lot of instability happening today, a lot of uncertainty. We're questioning everything that we thought we knew that we wanted. We thought we knew that we were doing. There is a tendency with the moon in Libra to look outside of ourselves for validation. And we have to stop doing that. The power is within, the knowledge is within. We get a little bit of a help here because the sun in Sag goes ahead and trines Chiron. This is like an optimistic pep talk. This is our life force energy. This is our will. This is our determination, blending with the celebration energy of Chiron, the wounded healer, letting us know that guess what? We've been healing a lot more than we've been hurting. And I know all you are going to probably roll your eyes and say, I don't know, I've been hurting a lot more than I've been healing. That is part of the process. And sometimes we get so tunnel vision in the pain and suffering that we haven't taken the time out to see the big picture on what it is that we've actually been healing, the progress that we've made. So this is a little bit of a time out, let's say, to fuel the fire within, really kind of recognize where it is that we have been doing the work, where the pain and suffering is still in existence because we are doing the work. And that in itself is something to celebrate. The moon goes ahead and squares Venus. And Venus, as you know, is kind of slowing down. She is in her pre-shadow period, preparing to go retrograde early on in December. She is in Capricorn. She's very much down to business. She's trying to kind of compartmentalize her emotions and not let them get in the way of trying to figure out what it is that now she needs, now she wants, now she desires for herself. There's a power struggle going on with Venus and Capricorn, starting with our heart and our head, starting with what it is that we want, need, and desire versus what it is that we've been settling for. And now we're not messing around. We have to get down to the nitty-gritty on what it is that we actually want to start manifesting. Venus in Capricorn is a very strong manifester, but we got to get our values straight first in what it is that we want in our personal relationships and the stability that we need emotionally and financially. We need to focus more on what it is that makes us happy, what it is that brings us joy, what it is that contributes to the pleasure sector in our lives. And the moon in Libra is going to help us really figure out how to do that. Of course, the moon in Libra, very focused on beauty, on arts, on making oneself feel good, on self-love. But this is a square. This is a tension point. So we're likely going to be at odds with our heart, with our head, trying to figure out the finer details of what it is that we need to be focused on to create more love and passion and harmony and fun and pleasure in our lives. The moon in Libra goes ahead and bumps into Neptune in not such a nice way. This is really going to disconnect us from our spiritual selves, our higher selves, our intuition. The moon in Libra, of course, a very intellectual type of energy stuck in the mental plane, focused on logic and practicality, which doesn't leave a lot of room for magic. Not a lot of room for dreams, for imagination, which of course Neptune is all about. Neptune is preparing to go direct. That will be taking place in the wee hours tomorrow morning. So these last little aspects that Neptune is actually involved with, this is a huge shift in our energy. This is kind of wrapping up the last 5 months of painful realizations where our spirit, where our reality, where our dreams are concerned. And lucky for us, we get to move in a direct position with Neptune moving forward. We get to put the rose-colored glasses on, get back to dreaming, get back to kind of strengthening our intuition and our spirituality. But right now, the moon in Libra is kind of shutting down that connection in order to stay focused in this egoic realm of kind of weighing the pros and cons with our emotions, with our mental plane. Venus goes ahead and sextiles Neptune as well. Again, this is the last aspect that Venus will be making with Neptune before Neptune actually goes direct. This is going to be a good energy because Venus is able to tap into her higher self, her intuition, her dream state, because again, she is in Capricorn, kind of cutting out the emotions that cloud our judgment a lot of these times in order to get down to the nitty-gritty of what actually inspires her, what makes her happy. She's able to tap into this Neptune energy to move inward, to really figure out where the happiness has been blocked, where the joy, the pleasure has been blocked, where it is that her own, let's say, lesser expectations, settling for what other people are willing to give instead of demanding what it is that they have to give, has really put Venus in a tough position. And that's why many of us are struggling in personal relationships right now that we know are not feeding us, not building us, not encouraging us, that we're struggling to walk away from. This particular energy is going to kind of oomph that imaginary state, that dreamland, and really get us in touch with a new inspiration, a new vision, a new dream, a new goal that we should actively be pursuing, actively be trying to manifest. The moon in Libra is going to go ahead and bump into Mars, which this isn't going to be the greatest aspect either, because Mars, again, in Scorpio, very passionate, very much focused on the new desires coming forth. And the moon in Libra really just doesn't want to take action. And that's what Mars is all about. Mars wants to be aggressive on pursuing these new inspirations, these new intuitive visions. And the moon in Libra is just like, no, we have to think about this logically and practically. I can't support you making this kind of move. If we do go ahead and really aggress ourselves in our physical realm to make a move, to act on impulse, we'll likely have to clean up that mess later. The sun is going to go ahead and sextile Saturn. This is going to be a beautiful energy for us to, again, get a solid grounding point, get a grip, kind of ground in our life force energy, in the Sagittarian energy, which is our hype girl. It does make us positive. It does make us optimistic. It does kind of align us with a new truth, a new belief system. And the Saturn energy, of course, is karmic in nature, but also showing us where it is that we have to boss up to new roles, to new responsibilities, especially where futuristic planning is concerned. Now, Mercury is going to bump into Pluto in not the most nice way. And again, another prime example on when we take one step forward, we usually have those dark forces try to take us 2 steps back. Mercury bumping into Pluto in this way is likely going to highlight our obsessive, looping thoughts, where fears, where doubts, where insecurities are concerned. That sun sextiling Saturn is such a great energy, boosts us in many ways, makes us excited about what is to come. And then Mercury bumping into Pluto in this way just takes us all the way down, questioning everything, really creating a state of paralysis. We're not so sure about the plans that we had. We're not so, positive in our thinking. It really does put a damper on our day. But the moon goes ahead and semi-squares the sun at this particular time. And let me just tell you, this isn't going to bring us out of that funk all that much easy, because the moon in Libra really wants to, again, achieve balance, achieve peace, achieve harmony. But again, we learn our lessons the hard way with the moon in Libra by living in extremes. This illumination, especially with the sun in Sag, is kind of going to put us at odds with our earlier confident outlook with our futuristic goals and kind of bring us down a couple of pegs, really kind of speaking the indecisiveness, the uncertainty into our plans, into our thoughts, into our feelings. Then the moon goes ahead and squares Pluto, and this is definitely going to make us take another step back into the darkness. But again, we have a choice. Are we going to go, balls to the walls and sit in the darkness and sit in our victimhood and sit in the fear and sit in the insecurities? Or are we going to remind ourselves that we just learned this lesson in Scorpio season, because Pluto rules over Scorpio season, and we learned that the fear and the doubts and the insecurities and the uncertainties are there to help motivate us and inspire us to make a change, to boss up, to stand in our power, to take control. The moon at that time goes ahead and semi-squares Mercury. This is a small attempt, and again, very small attempt, to bring us out of that dark funk. The moon semi-squaring Mercury in this way is definitely trying to get a grip on the mental narrative, on the mental looping. Again, the Plutonian energy is a little bit obsessive. We get stuck in that rut of negative thoughts and negative thinking. So the moon in Libra is trying to pull us out of that emotion. Mercury in Sag is trying to pull us out of that mental narrative and make things a little bit more exciting and spicy and positive again. And then we get a huge rush of energy when the moon in Libra goes ahead and trines Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, rules over Sagittarius season, is our hype girl, opening our minds, growing and expanding our mental plane to something more positive. This is when the moon in Libra gets a grounding point, gets a center point back again. Of course, that Jupiter energy magnifies the good outlooks that we need to have, the good narratives that we need to adopt, the good feels that we need to sit in, just in time for the moon in Libra to harmoniously bump into the true node. This brings us out of our funk. This reminds us of our future goals. It reminds us of the vision that we're working towards. It inspires us to get out of that dark narrative that we just kind of fought our way out of. And it reminds us of all the reasons of why this struggle is worth it. And of course, may I remind you, it's because we deserve everything that our future vision, our future dream is going to allow us to experience. And we recognize that we can't get there by sitting in a state of paralysis. So the moon in Libra bumping into the true node this way is a reminder of why it is that we have to fight so hard in our emotions, in our mental plane, to stay on the right side of things, to stay in the positive vibes.